So when I was about 12 or 13, like every 12 or 13-year-old, my favorite games to play were Halo and Call of Duty, right? And being a little squeaker, I was, I had very good hand-eye coordination, and I was very loud and talked a lot of smack, right? Well, I talked smack to the wrong person over Xbox Live. And this was in Halo 3, late Halo 2, early Halo 3 days where DDoSing and anything like that was just rampant. Like, you'd be kicking people offline if you grabbed host, yada, 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 action replay with Metal Gear Solid to hack your Halo 2, you know what I'm saying? So it was fun. It was fun before, the FBI made DDoSing a federal crime. But I talked smack to the wrong person, and I think like a week later, he added me and sent me a message with my social security number and my grandmother's social security number. And he ended up, and my grandmother, she's the hardest working man I've ever met in my life, to be honest. I was raised by my grandmother, and she worked like 3 jobs, all of them for minimum wage, cleaning buildings, and all this stuff, right? And she had a 3rd grade education, so I would have to help her balance her checkbooks, right? So I was doing the math for her, making sure the math double checked, right? And he was able to open up or get access to her bank accounts through the security questions after, like I would sign on Bungie.net and stuff, like for Halo 2 and Halo 3 rankings, like MLG tournaments and stuff like that. And he ended up getting into my computer, getting all of the account information, and drained her account. And it was a bad deal. It was a really bad deal. So that kind of impacted my life in this way for, for the better. Because that's how all of this got started. And ever since then, man, I mean, I just feel bad because right now the elderly are really being targeted heavy with cybersecurity scams. Like, they're getting calls all the time, like, hey, you owe $10,000 on your AT&T bill, pay it now over the phone, and I may or may not be based in the United States. That sort of scam. And that's happening more often than people can realize, and it's terrifying and terrible to deal with. So really, I mean, I know I'll be talking about a lot of services for businesses, but anybody genuinely that needs help with cybersecurity, please, I can definitely help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this, man. You mentioned the FBI made DDoSing a federal crime. Did you ever get in any trouble? Like, have you ever gotten in any trouble with the law back in your earlier days? You do have the Fifth Amendment right, of course, in this country.
So I can tell you I got in trouble my freshman year of college over a dumb reason. I went to Arkansas Tech for computer science, and my freshman year was in 2016, and for some reason my T number, the way they had the Wi-Fi set up over at Brown and stuff like that, it was just really irritating, and I didn't have access to the internet for like longer than... It was inconvenient. It was probably less than a day, to be honest. But it was inconvenient. I needed internet. Come on, dude, give me internet. So there were some vulnerabilities on the router, and I just exploited some of the vulnerabilities and was able to get online and like whatever. And they knew it was me because I started using my T number for everything. I signed in to my atu.edu account. It was really easy to track. I wasn't trying to hide anything, but I got a stern talking to for doing that. But that's the only trouble I'm willing to divulge right now.
There we go.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny, man. You literally led them right to you. You're like, hey, here's my signature.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
That's interesting, man. So when it comes to the exploit, I mean, do you know exactly how they got your information off Xbox Live? And
honestly,
did you just sign your name on Xbox Live?
I mean, honestly, man, if you had an Xbox Live account, you had to have an email tied to your Xbox Live account back then. And like, I could grab your IP address off. If we were in a lobby together, I'd have your IP address, your public, your static, whatever, right? Just by the way that they made connections back in the day for Xbox Live. They didn't care about security. They cared about make it work, make the lobby work, join all these people in a lobby, give the one with the best connection host. And, it wasn't really... Nothing back in the day was done with the idea of cybersecurity first. So everything was open. I think back then, up until Cloudflare, not recently, but Cloudflare protects a lot of organizations from DDoS attacks. But I think the leading DDoS attack for a long time was using a 3G cell phone. Like, a Nokia 3G cell phone to run Xerxes on. And that would shut down an international corporation. Like for as long
Is
as
that
you
how
had
they
that.
did it to Sony back in like 2011?
Maybe,
Maybe.
maybe, but I mean, I keep thinking about how he got my information, but I mean, honestly, he could have gotten it a lot of different ways. I mean, I remember vividly all the crap I was talking to him and all the things that he said he was going to do. Dude, I'm going to hack it because everything he told me he was going to do to me, he did. Like, he hacked me. He read off my grandmother's full maiden name, her social, my address. And I keep thinking about, how did he get access to it? And the only thing that I can come back to is one, he could either pull my email address from my Xbox Live account, and I was very active on MLG forums at the time. So I was always doing, doubles tournament for, I forgot what the currency was for Xbox Live. I think it was like RP or something. So I could like get more accounts, Xbox Live accounts and stuff. And that's more than likely where he got it from, to be honest. But yeah, man, that was a traumatizing experience, to be honest.
Yeah.
That sucked.
I bet, man. I went through I won't get into the details, but a small episode with a rat twice. And to see someone, to just know that your privacy has been violated,
Yeah.
to know that literally this person has all your credit card information,
Mm-hmm.
they've had access to your webcam without you knowing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a rough feeling. Makes you
Yeah.
uncomfortable. Traumatizing is how you put it. I think that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And now, how exposed do you think the average person is in 2024? Because now, hold on, all the corporate stuff, they have Cloudflare, they have that cybersecurity first thought.
Mm-hmm.
They should, anyways. So that being said, how exposed am I? Being someone that has got a Facebook account, Instagram, that kind of thing.
So really, whenever somebody asks me how exposed or something along those lines in terms of cybersecurity, the first thing I always do is pull up the website haveibeenpwned.com. And I tell them to put in your email address and see how many data breaches you've been a part of. Guarantee you that it's over 4. Almost every time it's over 4. Like me, I do not exist on the internet at all. No socials for the past decade. I don't interact. I'm a permanent lurker on the internet, genuinely. And I've been a part of 2 data breaches. Like they have my personal email that I've been using that I've created like when I was 15. They have my old MySpace, like MySpace. I had that when I was like in junior high, you know? And honestly, if you're active on social media and you're one of those people that like shares personal information all the time, like for instance, your children's names, where you used to live, or any answer to a security question that a bank would use to verify who you are. If you have any sort of information like that on the ClearNet, either I can scrape it, but if you have a private profile, it doesn't really matter because advertising agencies have all the information anyway. I'll just buy it. And that's how the United States is right now. That's the whole problem that Facebook had a while back with selling user data. So user privacy here in America is terrible. We have, like, Europe has GDPR. I really wish America would adopt GDPR that gives everybody way more rights with your information and your privacy genuinely, and a lot more, I guess, ways to pursue an actionable outcome whenever your data is leaked, instead of, a piece of mail coming from Capital One saying that you're part of a class action lawsuit. Here's 77 cents for your part or your data that was leaked, And so as far as a normal person, you're way more open than you would assume, genuinely. With Microsoft, I think it's Microsoft Vala or Vasa. I can't remember what the name is, but all I would need is one picture and a 30-second clip of your audio, and I am you over the internet. Like if we're getting a Zoom call, that AI is pretty on point, and all I need is one picture and your voice, and now I'm you. And if I have the answer to your security questions also, who's going to know I'm not you, And that's social engineering. I wouldn't need anything. I wouldn't even need to hack you. Genuinely, I would just call AT&T and say, "Hey, my name is such and such. I lost my SIM card. I need a new one. Here's my information. Here's my security questions. I don't know my password either. I'm going to have to reset my password. Here's the answer to my security questions." And they'll give it to me. 9 times out of 10, they'll give it to me. And as soon as I get your phone, I'm going to sync it. I'm going to get all of this. More than likely, you're going to have an iPhone, especially if you're over the age of 30, you know, that simplicity, whatever, the ecosystem, the Apple ecosystem, anything you have synced to your iCloud is mine. Your iMessages, your photos, whatever, videos, it's all mine. I hope you don't have any secrets, you know, like.
Game over at that point.
Yeah, it's game over, genuinely.
So what does someone do? You know, like this is, when you say that, man, it's going to scare people. They're going to be like, oh my goodness. You
Well,
know,
it's
like,
the truth.
Well, it very well may be, but is there hope, I guess?
Oh, 100%. So first thing I recommend, put your emails into haveibeenpwned.com. If they spell it weird, just type in have I been pwned and then the web, like in Google, and it should pop. It should be the first result. Put in whatever email is your most frequently used email or whatever email you use that interacts with data you don't want to be released, like your bank accounts,
iCloud.
Yeah, iCloud, anything, any one of those emails. If you've been a part of any data breach at all, right? Take that password that has been released and do not use, like if you use the name of movies, you know, let's just say hypothetically you use movies for your password. As a hacker, what I would do to hack you is, one, I would scrape everything that you're on, like just to search for an email, just your personal email or an email that you use. And then I would search for a data breach. And that way I have how you lay out your passwords, because humans are a creature of habit. All of us do the same thing for their passwords. I guarantee you, if you don't use a password manager that does the random encrypted 8 to 13 characters, you follow a pattern. I guarantee you do. And with Metasploit and with a lot of the rule bending that you can do with password cracking and stuff like that, I can have, within 10 minutes, I can have 2,000 iterations of your patternistic passwords. Like, and they'd be very good guesses over how you would lay out a password, where you put the numbers in your password, do you do it before or after, and yada, yada, yada. So what I recommend is, if your passwords have ever been in a data breach, change the way that you do passwords. Instead of doing movies, do books. Instead of that, do passages from your favorite book, do book numbers, anything that would be seemingly random that you can remember. Oh, and also, instead of password managers, please have a notebook and write down your passwords, please, because it'd be infinitely easier for you to keep track of your passwords if you write them down, and safer, because KeePass, LastPass, all these password managers, I mean, they're numero uno on the target list. There's a lot of ways to crack a lot of the hashes for KeePass. There's a lot of ways to get into password managers, and especially if it's just easy, man. So write down your passwords, change the way that you do passwords, and please put MFA, multi-factor authentication, on your emails. Every email that is important or you think is important, put multi-factor authentication on. That will stop 99.9% of everything that I can try to get into your account. Because even if I do guess your password, I don't have your phone number. I'm not getting that authentication text. And that'll stop me and somebody like me dead in their tracks, and they won't pursue it any further. But if you're, you know, so like if you're the CEO of a multi-million-dollar organization, I may like, let me call AT&T and try to SIM swap. Let me try to get them to tell me or reset your password, give them a new email, say that I lost it, get your security questions. That's when that becomes more prevalent. You know what I mean? The social engineering aspect and digging into who you are. But the normal person, just put MFA on your emails. And please, I implore you to look at what data breaches you are a part of, because I guarantee you're a part of a lot. At least 4 is the going statistic for what I've met, like just with regular people.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to see how many I've been a part of. You said haveibeenpwned.com. Mm-hmm. Also, what's the best browser, in your opinion?
Dude.
Does it matter?
Honestly, man, I've been a Firefox fanboy since day one, but the recent update, actually, this is cool. I get to tell people this. So the recent update for Firefox, they automatically include your browser data to be used for advertising IDs. So you have to go into your privacy settings and actually uncheck that checkbox, because with the new update, it's automatically checked and they're doing it. So they just, in my opinion, they just fell into the dark side. So I don't know. I would have recommended Firefox before that little snippet, you know what I mean? But I mean, Google Chrome, I mean, don't get me started on the memory leaks with Google Chrome and all the vulnerabilities with Google Chrome. Dude, there is no good browser, man. Just DuckDuckGo, the search engine, DuckDuckGo. I think DuckDuckGo is native to Brave. I think Brave is the browser that uses DuckDuckGo a lot, or is integrated into the browser. But DuckDuckGo is nice. If you don't want them to use you as, you know, an algorithmic based whatever, and like, you know how sometimes you'll be on Google and it's like, oh my God, they know what I'm trying to look for and they know what I'm searching. Yeah. If you don't want that to happen, use DuckDuckGo. But yeah, DuckDuckGo is nice. It's getting way better. Way, way better. So how many breaches?
You're not going to believe this, but 0 on my top 3 emails. Now these, I haven't, I mean, I have like probably 10 emails. I can, you know, I've got a lot of emails over the years. Here, let me go to one that I've used perhaps the longest, but I don't really use anymore. The one my bank has is good. Okay, the one that I've used the longest, 12 data breaches.
Yep, there it is.
It's been around for a minute, and 2 pastes, whatever a paste is.
Paste? I'm pretty sure they're talking about like password lists that were posted on forums, like Rocky.txt and stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah, probably so. Probably so. So, okay.
12.
I think I'm...
Yeah.
Man, we don't have to get into AI because that's a whole big can of worms. But, you know, in one sentence or less, what do you think about AI?
It's made my life easier in terms of being able to hack people. Like anything that I want to do with programming, AI has made it, just streamlined it so much. I cannot describe to you. Like if you have I have a bachelor's of science in computer science. So over at Arkansas Tech, I had 2 great professors, Dr. Morrell and Dr. Middleton. And they were really, really great professors. Let's just chalk it up to that. And they taught me a lot. So all the programming that I do, I really love the command line, and I love Linux-based OSs or Unix-based OSs. I don't really like IDEs. I just like going into the command line using Vim or NeoVim and just doing whatever I need to do from that standpoint. And both of them taught C++. When I was going to school, I think it was C++ 11 to C++ 13. And that's a very good programming language to learn. It's low level, close to assembly language. You basically talking directly to the computer. But if you have a background in any sort of programming, know any of the fundamentals of programming, AI will streamline your process by factors of 10. It's insane. So AI has improved my life a lot. But that being said, there's still a lot of problems with AI, especially with large language models and how it uses information to train itself. Like there's a lot of problems that come with AI, but it's a great tool. Like I recommend everybody get the paid version of ChatGPT. Just pay $20 a month. I use it a lot with dude, it's just nice. I really like AI. Right now, actually, no, I'm not going to get into that. But AI, yeah, I recommend it. Use it. Please use it. Everybody's going to have your information anyway. Google has all your search information anyway. It doesn't really matter about any of the information that you want to keep private. Pay for the version of ChatGPT just in case you use it for business needs like I do, because you don't want your proprietary information, or if you're loading scans or doing this documentation or reporting, yada, 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 trying to get some verbiage down. You don't want your client's information to be released, and paying for it makes Microsoft liable to data breaches pertaining to ChatGPT leaks with client information. You know what I mean? So it kind of like bypasses, the responsibility for anything dealing with client information. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So use it. Please use it.
And if you're not paying for it, you have that liability on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Because, yeah.
I'm sure you heard about this, but back when, this is before I think GPT-4 came out, there was like, Amazon figured out some proprietary information had been like inputted by some of their employees,
Mm-hmm.
and it just got out there.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It's funny.
And that's exactly why I bring it up, man.
And so is there any validity or like for the average person that has computer literacy, is there any real benefit from like training your own model? Or is the amount of work it's going to require, right? Because I don't want to necessarily learn how to train an AI just for the sake of it. Like it would have to be worth the effort.
Mm-hmm. So that is actually something I have been playing with for a while. So I have Colossal AI. It's an open source AI project that's based off of, I think, ChatGPT 2.0 or 2.5. I think it's 2.0.
That's where they basically forked off at, and it's been developed since then.
Yep, yep. So in my opinion, ChatGPT 3.5, I think last year around October, like the August to October range, that is when AI peaked and they realized they have to start limiting services because this is too strong. And then that's when you start seeing the dumb ChatGPT come out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it feels like it has gotten a bit dumber.
It has, and that's intentional because, I mean, you gotta create business needs, man. You gotta market it somehow. You can't just give them everything because whenever I started using it, I was getting everything that I wanted, and it was crazy, and I just couldn't believe it. Like I used to work at Arkansas Hard and like doing some of the cybersecurity duties and stuff like that, and realizing like, dude, I could be a 5-man team right now just from parsing information, doing data analytics on it, and it was good. So I would take analytics. I would make ChatGPT produce a report, like a statistical report over what ports are open or anything like that. Just give it a set data, and then I would do it manually, just to see how close. You know what I mean? Like manual statistical data versus automatically printed out ChatGPT statistical data, and
To make sure it's accurate.
yeah, to make for accuracy. Yeah, and dude, last year around that time, it was like 96% accurate all the time. Like I could almost always trust what it was giving me, but now it's like 60%, dude, 70. And you have to give a specific prompt. So you get into prompt engineering. You have to learn how to ask the computer exactly for what you want without. So with Colossal AI, with what I've been doing is I don't enjoy the internet. I don't want any of my personal information on the internet. But I want my own artificial intelligence, right? So I want Jarvis at home, man. I want Jarvis on my farm. You know what I mean? So I've trained and will train the Colossal AI on like 4K video of me just wandering around, my shop and stuff. And what that's going to do for my AI is create, because humans are patternistic. It's going to know my patterns, what I interact with most. So it can learn, instead of like trying to get all of the internet onto my AI, what it's going to do is like kind of preload whatever I interact with and have it ready in memory, right? So I'm not going to, there's no, like for instance, there's no reason for me to know what types of cheese there are because I'm lactose intolerant, dude. There's no dairy in my life. So all that is what I consider useless information for me, genuinely. But I work with hand tools all the time, socket sets, and like all this other stuff. So mechanic information, engineering information, electrical information, that's kind of top priority in my day-to-day life, like carpentry information, like working with wood tools, framing houses and stuff like that, working like my garden, and anything that I'm doing with computers, that's top priority information for me. So my AI is geared towards that sort of information. So I don't know if it's ever going to get to the point to where a company releases an AI that is trained by you, I would say. Like, it would be with you, it would be on your device, it would be listening to every conversation just to pick up clues and, like, actually protect that. You know what I mean? Actually protect that information. So we could start building a profile on you. But then again, I mean, advertising agencies, they've done a pretty good job at getting a genuine profile of who you are, what you interact with. Amazon is the best example of that. If you go into your Amazon search and all of their suggestions are geared towards what you want. You know what I mean? So that's just an example of how good advertising agencies are. So yeah, there might be a company that works with advertising agencies to build a profile over who you are so they can ship a personal AI to you. But I don't see that happening anytime soon. And this project of mine is just a little passion project, but it's working pretty well.
Yeah. So colossal AI, it's not something you see the average person necessarily.
No, that's
more
for an
of
enthusiast. Yeah.
Someone that really wants to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
So, Chris, you mentioned a few times throughout this conversation that you valued a lot of your privacy. You pretty much have zero presence on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And now you've made a decision to to sit here on this podcast and put your face, maybe for the first time in a really long time, on the internet.
Yeah.
So why did you do that?
So I'm going to say a big motivator for me is my 3 children, honestly, because in learning how to be a good father, I mean, it just really comes out like you need to help people. You need to go out into the community and actually help people. And I'm going to be honest, man, spending time in the shadows, as I put it, and being anonymous and not being on the internet has been a blessing that I cannot describe to people. Just being detached from whatever algorithm is being pushed to you and just focusing on your direct community, like who's your neighbor? Do you know your neighbors? Have you ever helped your neighbors? You know what I mean? It'd be surprising if you just go over there and have a conversation with them, you know, especially if you're 20, 30 years old and your neighbor's 50, you know. There's a lot of knowledge that could be transferred between the two of you. You can help them with tech. They can help you with real life skills like carpentry. You maybe learn how to swing a hammer. You know what I mean? But really it's them. They're the ones, my family's the one that's really made the decision clearer for me to step into the light and actually just, you know, whatever. Because I haven't spent a decade, you know, on the internet. The last time my face was posted, a recent picture of my face, the most recent picture other than this podcast was, I think, 2016. And that was posted by Russellville Christian Center as an announcement for me and my wife's wedding when we were in college. And I think that's the last picture that I scraped of me. That's the most recent. So 2016, so 7 years ago?
Yeah.
8 years? Oh my God, it's 8 years ago. It's 2024.
Yeah, it is 2024, man. And the thing that's driving you, your underlying goal, is to help a certain amount of people,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'll let you say the number if you want to share that.
75 million.
75 million. 75 million people. That's a big number.
Yes, sir.
There's a reason you have that number, and more or less, like, from my conversations with you, it seems like you have a really good direction of where to go, how to achieve that number, but you're sort of building the ship as you go, which is the case for a lot of startups and a lot of people that do things. Right? Like,
Yes, sir.
I was reading this morning about our founding fathers, actually, Samuel Adams, John Hancock, and some of the conversations these guys had, like before anything was getting started as far as creating the Declaration of Independence. And, you know, they didn't really know where they were going necessarily. I mean, they might have had that decision to go there, but they had to build as they, you know, did the things. That's what I'm trying to get at here. So why 75 million? Why not 100 or 10 people? You know, you could have stopped at 10.
So I believe I am where I am because we all stand, and this is true for everybody, we all stand on the shoulders of giants. You know, technology's like that. We are like that. So 75 million, that is a number that it's basically a factor of 1,000. So one of my relatives, I should say, somebody I'm related to, his name is Chris.grauel. He was a priest on the ship Exodus. They made a movie about it. He's buried in Israel right now at the foot of Mount Carmel, and he's been accredited by the state of Israel for saving 75,000 lives. and that was in 1947. And he was doing that for Jewish refugees. It's really cool. His story is pretty harrowing. He had a testimony in front of the UN that the Prime Minister of Israel, I forget her name, but it's one of the first three, and it's a woman. Man, I should really keep her name in memory. But she accredits him with saving 75,000 souls. And that's where my 75 million comes from, because, I mean, if I'm aiming for the stars, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why not? Why not try to save help 75 million people? Especially when it comes to cybersecurity, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think that's an impossible goal. I don't think that's an outrageous goal. If anything, I should have probably said 7.5 billion. But 75 million is what comes to mind, and I think that's doable. And with the path that I'm on now, especially with the people I'm having interactions with high-level state, cybersecurity agencies, local government, credit unions, just anything, it's doable, and I'm getting there, genuinely. And like, I have stats to prove it. It's kind of crazy. It's really crazy. But that's where that number came from.
Yeah. And one of the things that you're not interested in money. Like, that's something that stuck out to me about you very early on. You have no real interest in it, and that reflects on kind of what we've spoken about a bit with how you may be launching the nonprofit, working with businesses for either very minimal or nothing. But yeah, man, I just kind of want to talk about how, like, say I'm a business owner, how are you going to help me? What would you actually come in and do?
Okay, so you're a business owner. I would come in, take a general assessment. Well, first, I would say, let's do a penetration test. Because the easiest way from...
Sorry, before we get too far into it, what size business are you thinking about? Like, how big does a business need to be? Or could it literally just be a one-person?
One-person show. If you handle any sort of client information at all, like billing, anything that would pass through your computer that pertains to client information, like running credit cards, storing information, like addresses, anything that would be considered personal information, PPI, right? I can help you, genuinely. And if you're worried about protecting your social, like any of your socials or anything like that, genuinely, I mean, I can help one-person businesses all the way up to corporations with 13,000 employees.
Wow. So you'd literally be, for those business owners listening that think, okay, why would I want this still? This is your reputation on the line, right? If you lose your customer data, if something stupid happens, an employee, if you just don't understand if you don't understand it, where you're exposed with your system, that's why you need to care about it. Because, like, what if all of your customers' information got leaked and they knew it was you? Would they ever come back to you? Probably not.
I think the state government now, it used to be 3 months. So if you're in any sort of regulated industry, like a HIPAA, for example, like the medical industry, before it was 3 months. You had 90 days to inform your patients, your clients, that you've been hacked, you've been breached, here's all the information, and you could do that in the form of an email to your clients or patients, physical mail to their address, or a broadcasted message on a news network, right? But now I think it's 72 hours. I'm gonna have to double check that, but I'm pretty sure the standard now is 72. You have 3 days, and that's specific, coming down from the federal government. And this all started with the Russia thing and us going over to Russia and stuff. Like, everybody's getting hacked. AT&T's getting hacked. We all know AT&T's getting hacked.
So we're at war right now.
100%. 100%. We've been at war. Like, one of the greatest opportunities I had to work in cybersecurity was with a nonprofit organization called Arkansas Electrical Cooperative, AECC.
The electric company.
Yeah,
for a big part of the state. Yeah.
Yeah. So, working as a cybersecurity, because I was doing this during college, I worked there as a cybersecurity engineering intern, and dude, some of the stuff I saw, like how often they would get hit by IP addresses that were overseas, how often they were targeted, scanned. I mean, nation states are always looking. And if you're in any sort of critical infrastructure, for example, water plants, I didn't know that was a big thing until I ran across a water plant that was actively being targeted, genuinely. And you wouldn't assume that they'd be a target. But I've worked with tire companies in Central Arkansas that aren't big that have lost $250,000 from a hack, like siphoned from an account, $250,000. This water company I'm telling you about services 1,100 customers, some chicken farms, and one of the marijuana farms in Central Arkansas. And, we were joking, having fun, you know what I mean? And he was like, yeah, sometimes I get calls from farmers at 3 a.m. saying I'm pumping air to the chickens. And they always call me, and, we would come over there and, just turn them on manually. And they have a remote system set up to where the owner of the company can just turn on and off the valves with his phone. And you have farmers calling you saying that your water plant's off, it's turned off, and you didn't do it.
Yeah.
And you have this remote system to activate it. And now the SCADA engineer's in here demanding that you get an IP security tunnel, a secure VPN for his software. That's interesting. That's an interesting coinky dink, right?
Yeah.
And, man, yeah, it's crazy.
It is, man. It is. And here you are at the front lines trying to do something about it.
Yeah.
Very commendable. And
So, back to the original question, how could I help you? Genuinely, right? One person all the way up to 1,000, right? So let's start statistically. The FBI, Sophos, Verizon, 91% chance that you're going to get hacked through email. That's the biggest one. You're going to click something. At some point, you're going to click something. It's going to be installed on your computer, whether it be malware, crypto miner, whatever. You're going to click something. Let's go ahead and get that out of the way. That's why multi-factor authentication is big. Have multi-factor authentication, yada, yada, yada. But how would I help a business? I would come in there, first, let me hack you. Let me get a genuine pen test, right? And what that's going to do is give you a current state of affairs for your organization's IT, security, whatever assets you have. All of it's going to be in scope, whatever you want, right? Internal, external, cloud, Wi-Fi. Let's get an assessment of all of it. Where do you stand right now on this day? Here's your vulnerabilities per device. Here's what you need to do to lock up the security. Like, you're going to get a ton of recommendations from me. Here's what you need to do to lock up your security, update your devices, yada, yada, yada. And we can even get down, like, if you have 13, 20 employees and you're starting to do a lot of business, QuickBooks, yada, 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 we can start talking about network architecture, having, segmented, like, whitelisted Ethernet ports at your business, getting Cisco equipment in there so we can do some hard routing, network architecture, Active Directory architecture, whether it be on-prem or in the cloud. We can start coming up with ideas for that. And we can start talking about your cybersecurity maturity level. If you're in an industry that is heavily regulated by cybersecurity, like banking and finances, HIPAA, anything like that. The manufacturing industry isn't that regulated, but it is highly targeted. You know what I mean? So I would recommend a lot of security stuff for the manufacturing industry. That's it.
are they trying to increase those regulations on the manufacturing industry? Is there any drive to do that?
I think the drive for increasing cybersecurity regulations will be coming from insurance companies. And actually, thank you for asking, sir. That's the main motivator, other than my family, that got me into doing what I'm doing right now. So, statistically speaking, if you're an organization that's considered small to medium, and that is anywhere between 0 to 1,000 employees, that is small to medium-sized businesses. When you get hacked, the average cost is going to be $1.3 million, and the average payout from your insurance company, if you do get one, will be $245,000. So you're out automatically $1 million, just statistically, right? I'm speaking statistically. I've worked with, like, the one that hurt the most was my buddy. I'm not going to say any names. I don't want to put him on blast, but he had a daycare, and daycare's, kids' information, kids' social security's number. They need to keep that information for their systems to interact with the federal government, for grants, yada, yada, yada. He got hacked. His doors are no longer open. And that was his mission, and he can't do it anymore. He tried to get money from his insurance company, but the way that compliance works right now, today, is it is yes, no, right? So the easiest way that an insurance agency will come in and do a spot check, right, is PCI DSS. So if you accept credit cards or anything like that, or scan credit cards, you're supposed to fill out a PCI DSS form for your insurance company. And they're going to ask a lot of questions, right? A lot of IT questions. What security do you have over your devices? Do you have a firewall? If you do, what are the firewall settings? What's your route? What's your infrastructure look like? Do you have an Active Directory? They're going to ask a lot of questions. And it's going to be somebody like me, like an investigator, that's going to come in, ask you these questions. And as soon as you say no to one of those questions, the ball's in the insurance agency's court, right? Because now you're not compliant. According to NIST best practices or whatever practices, NIST stands for National Institute of Standards and Technology. So because that's what insurance agencies use.
Man,
They quote
NIST
that
has like everything. But
yeah,
that's
it's all of it. It's all of it.
Yeah.
NIST has all of it, right? Because you weren't, they'll say, because you weren't following best practices that, one, we expect you to be upheld. That's why we send you these PCI DSS forms. And two, best practices according to NIST, right? We're not paying you. It's your fault you were hacked. And it's true. You know what I mean? To some degree, it is true. You weren't doing security protocols. You weren't doing your best. It is what it is. You know what I mean?
And then you lose your whole business.
Yeah. Because people, every time I ask this, I'm like, how much do you think you're going to get paid when you get hacked from your insurance company? And I got a $10 million plan. I expect to get every dime. You're not getting any of it. I can almost guarantee you're not going to get any of it. And they're going to fight tooth and nail to not pay you any of it.
Wow. So you have something that you can implement in businesses that basically make sure they are compliant day one. Tell me about that.
So we can talk about making them compliant, which compliance is a fancy term that just combines legal and IT. That's all compliance means, legal IT, right? We can talk about with an organization's cybersecurity maturity level and their risk taste and anything else like that, where do you want your organization to be as far as compliance is concerned, right? And because, IT security gets expensive. It gets expensive quick, and if you're a small business, you can't necessarily afford to spend money on cybersecurity. I get it, right? But I want to help. So what is demanded of you by your insurance agency? Because if you don't want to spend money on your infrastructure to protect you and your clients, you get hacked. I get that. It's money. It's a business expense. You're trying to make money in the economy, whatever, right? So we'll start right there. What does your insurance demand of you? What regulations do you fall under, right? And all the insurance agency wants at the end of the day is documentation over the security that you're trying to do for your clients and for your company. And that documentation can range anywhere from just what security you're implementing all the way up to incident response plans, business continuity plans, anywhere cybersecurity procedures for each employee. Like if you're working at a bank and a teller notices something, like their computer flicker on and off and the webcam, right? A rat got it. What is that teller supposed to do, right? What is the policies and procedures for that teller? What's the policies and procedures for any employee in regards to cybersecurity that has access to a computer or sensitive information, right? Your insurance agency, depending on your field, whatever you're regulated in, they're going to be demanding of a lot, right? And we can just work with that company, the insurance agency, to get it on paper, right? Because I've never seen anybody get their full insurance payout. And in fact, I think the going way that things are done now is third-party MSSPs, managed security service providers, will do what I'm doing. They'll work with an insurance agency to get a guaranteed amount, let's say 40% of your plan. And then you start from that. Like if you're, in the eyes of the insurance company, not compliant now, at least you'll get 40% of your plan instead of 0. Because you're interacting with an MSSP and that MSSP has deals with the insurance company. It's a game. Right.
So how do you differ in what your approach is versus the MSSP approach?
So
You're going for the 100%. Like
yeah, I
this
really want,
entire
yes,
policy is going to be paid.
I want it all, right? So how am I going to try to get it all? That comes into network architecture and AD architecture, right? So an organization's infrastructure, let's start from here, right? So the Department of Defense releases something called STIGs, Standard Technical Implementation Guides. And what these STIGs are used for is whenever the military opens up an embassy or a FOB, a forward operating base or something like that, you need that organization, and the DoD is the best anyway. So the DoD, the DoD needs to have the ability to open a location within 24 hours and have somebody, personnel, badge into a computer and it be secure as possible, right? And they need to be able to roll that process out infinitely, right? For 10 people, for 1,000, for 10,000, 100,000, it doesn't matter. They need the infrastructure and they need to be able to do that. CISA, I think it's Cybersecurity Infrastructure Secure Agency. I forgot what the second S stands for, or the S stands for. They're the nonprofit cybersecurity arm, which I'm actually basing a lot of their practices for my nonprofit. They are the government's branch, and they have a ton of resources, great resources. They have great developers who have developed, if you look at their GitHub, their repositories, it's a lot of great stuff to help protect you, as well as go out and test other organizations, right? Because they come out, like for Arkansas, they would come out, do a pen test for them, government, and dude, they're good. They're really good. Some of their developers are some of the best in the nation.
So you're basing your practices, your methodologies, your systems off of some of the work they've done.
Yes, sir.
That's good. Learning from other people.
Yeah. And so the way that I differ is I'm not trying to modularize or try to profit off of any of the services that I'm trying to offer, right? So let's talk about whenever I first come in and I try to help you. A lot of the stuff that I'll be talking about is compliance related because I know that's the number one care. Like the whole reason a business owner would want to interact with me is, man, I don't want to get hacked. And when I get hacked, because it's going to happen, what's going to happen when I get hacked, right? Mm-hmm. And the number one care is, am I going to lose money? How am I going to lose money, right? And am I going to be able to get money to help all the money that I'm about to lose? Mm-hmm. That's why I have business, cybersecurity, insurance. So talking about compliance, I think the virtual CIO, CISO roles for like a Dafio and all of these big MSPs/MSSPs in this state at least, they're doing great work on how to ship this to business owners and profit off of compliance, really. And I'm just not trying to do any of that. Like I've thought about it, and it's just, I get it. It's a great way to make money, but I just want to get in, get out, help you right now. Here's a lot of documentation. And we can go all the way down to incident response, business continuity, which are virtual C-suite roles to do for a company. And yeah, I'm just trying to give you the documentation for free.
Is there any drawback to that? Like, say a company, let's just talk about like a larger company. If, they had to choose between you, who doesn't want to profit off this, and somebody that their whole business model is profiting off this, why would they choose you over them? Other than just like, you're not charged, which sometimes that's like, hey, why is this guy doing this for free? Like that's a kind of a red flag sometimes. So why do they go with you?
So my initial recommendations, a lot of the stuff like for the free consultation, a lot of that will be geared towards compliance. But like incident response, these procedures for your employees, that does take time and that will take effort, right? So I'm not going to say that 100% of that is going to be free because I'm going to have to put some serious hours into that. But the technical work like hacking, right? Coming in and trying to like give you a genuine pen test that I guarantee you've never seen before. Like as far as the industry is concerned, I haven't seen any organization produce a pen test report like the way that I do them. But so the hacking part, and then just giving you a genuine list of recommendations over the current state of your infrastructure, right?
Yeah.
And your IT team, if you do have a large organization, and no doubt they're doing well in their jobs, right? They'll be able to take those recommendations and have the choice on whether or not they work with an outside firm, or they work with me, or they just do it in-house, you know, because these recommendations can be implemented by a team of IT professionals, right? Like network recommendations and AD architecture recommendations, right? So the choice will be up to them on whether or not they want to do any work out of house, you know? And that's genuinely what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to help them help themselves, right? And if they want to work with me, great. I'll work with your priority numero uno, you know? I'm about to lose sleep over your infrastructure. If they want to work with another third party, I have great recommendations for other third party MSPs, some good dudes, with a lot of good teams, a lot of good red team members, a lot of good IT professionals, system engineers. I know a lot of people, and I can point you to the right direction, you know?
Yeah.
Because being in this stage of the business that I'm in, being able to offer support for multiple companies that are over the size of 100 is just not feasible right now with where I am. It will more than likely be feasible in the coming future and near future with the way that things are going. But right now, yeah.
Yeah. I respect that, you know, and I think you're an individual that you've got what you need, and you know that. That's why you're not chasing the money, right? Man, what is money? I know this is kind of getting a little bit off topic, but at maybe a spiritual level, like what is money? You know, like there's I've heard some terms recently in some of my studies like currency, right? Like it's this this energy that takes place in this material world. I don't know.
So,
Like if it is something like that, it might be a little out there, but if it is something like that, Chris, how can you use that for good?
man, that's the big question, man. Because my father-in-law, great dude, his name's Russell Todd Brown. He's a great man, and I have the privilege of being married to his daughter. You know what I mean? My angel. He's given me, because I have the same problems. It's not like I have a distaste for money, but I knew that, or I know, like everybody, like the saying, money is the root of all evil. You know what I mean? Like it's really up to you on what you decide to do with the money, right? So how do you get to a point to where you're like me and money isn't the first priority, right? Like my first priority is helping the guy to my left and right. So what helped me do that is try to revert my lifestyle back to pre-industrialization, right? So get some acreage, get some chickens, you know what I mean? Have a garden, be self-sufficient. And in becoming self-sufficient, like with your food, especially with your food, like please stop buying stuff from Walmart and buy stuff from your neighbors. Go get some pork from your neighbors, some bacon from your neighbors, get some fresh eggs from your neighbors, interact with your neighbors, get your food locally, and do that. And that's going to really shine a gigantic perspective over how much you think you need money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because really, money is just you exchanging your time here on this planet for, what's the saying? Like, I'll spend 20 years working now to buy 10 years when I'm at the end to retirement, you know?
Yeah. I get what you're
But
saying.
with my present point in life, I genuinely believe I'm in heaven on earth. So for me to exchange my time for money, yeah, there's not enough money on this planet to get me to do something I don't want to do. There's not, genuinely. And I've been offered a lot to do what I don't want to do. And I've said no every time, right? Because I'm already in heaven. You can't sway me with worldly goods.
You're at peace, you know? Like why do
Yeah.
you need money? Because you're already at peace.
Yes, sir. Yeah, that's a great way to put it. I'm at peace, and every time I leave my Garden of Eden, which is my home, I walk with purpose. So it's like I'm out here doing cybersecurity stuff. I'm trying to help as many people as I can every time I leave my house, and that's genuine. And the reason I do that is for family, you know? So I think money, it's odd because you need it, you know, you need it to live, you need it to do stuff. But what you choose to do with your money, it's hard, man. Those vices, they're hard. Like, you want to spend $30 on some peanut M&Ms, two party bags of peanut M&Ms?
Yeah.
Nobody's telling you no, you know? You want to spend $500 on gotcha spins for Genshin Impact? Go ahead, dude. Nobody's going to know other than you.
Yeah. Lately, I've been, you know, shifting over to that self-sustaining. You know, I find a lot of value in having a lot of meat in the fridge. You know, a lot of meat in the freezer.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, that's cool. You know, now I'm good for this many days, and I get to eat higher quality food. I like that. I guess money. I've been thinking about money a bit recently, like the energetics of it, how it behaves, how to use it the right way. Because I've had, you know, when I first started my business, my mindset was like, let's just make money, because you know, that's cool, right? Like, now we can. But my perspective of money has definitely shifted a lot. And through some studies I've been doing, I guess I'm considering it more of this form of energy. That yes, you can use energy for good things or for bad things. And how would I use it in my life? I guess I'm still trying to come to that conclusion, like how I'm going to use it. But part of it's definitely giving, because like giving money doesn't bring peace to anybody, but you know, giving to somebody when they're in a time of need or supporting them through something, I think that can do a lot for a person.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something I'm kind of making a decision to do more, and through my business, through the value I get to create for other people. You know, there is an element of money that's needed for bills and stuff. But beyond that, I guess I am a little motivated to grow my business so then I can give more and bring on people, like and watch them build a cool life and help out in any way I can. So it's just interesting, because I don't think either one of our perspectives on money is necessarily wrong. Like, you're not charging for a lot of your services, some yes, but like there's that definitely big free angle. And I guess for us, I want to provide free value for a lot of people, of course. Like, give more than we take, essentially. But there's still, I think, through the receiving of what you put out, you can funnel that back in, build more value. I guess that's how I view it, man. I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on that? Maybe you can challenge me to think about it in a different way. I don't know.
Well, the most precious form of currency that I have is my time. You know what I mean? Because if I had a choice with what I was doing, 10 times out of 10, it's always going to be at home with the boys and my wife. You know what I mean? 10 times out of 10. They're just great. I love playing with them. It's just heaven on earth, like I said. But there is real value in giving your time to individuals who need it. You know what I mean? Like, for me specifically, like, I can come help put up your fence. I can clean some gutters. I can do a lot of stuff, because I'm just that dude. Like, I just love doing stuff. But with cybersecurity, I think that is the most valuable way for me to give my time, like, especially with a nonprofit, to give my time to try and help somebody. Because a lot of people, 90% of people need genuine help with cybersecurity, and I can offer genuine assistance. You know, like this engagement, like this pen testing engagement for the nonprofit, or just for free through my LLC until I get my nonprofit started. That'll be a 1 to 2 week engagement that you're going to have of my time for free, like how we're doing right now. If you get me sitting down, just asking me and talk about it, there's no telling how much I would give you if you just ask. You know, ask me a question, ask me anything about IT. You'll have 2 weeks of my attention. And in those 2 weeks, like during the pen test engagement, you're going to get all this documentation. I'm going to be asking a lot of questions. You're going to have the opportunity to ask me a ton of questions. And I just want to help. I want to help you. It is my mission to help you. So please ask. You know what I mean? Yeah. And anything beyond that, like, we can start talking about what services you want me to provide, yada, yada, yada. We can just do it from there, right? But 2 weeks of my time, that's the most precious thing that I can offer for people. You know what I mean? Like, upfront with cybersecurity.
Yeah.
And because I tried to think about the money part of it. Like, so one of the coolest things that I got to do was a programming contract for a firm in Little Rock, right? And they had, like, I have a degree in C++. They had a proprietary application base of 100 plus C# applications, and they just fired their only engineer, their only developer over whatever. So coming into that organization, being able to assist and actually solving the problem and helping them with their application stack and all this other stuff, that was really cool. And that's also a service that's like, you can't find that anywhere. You're gonna have to go to a West Coast company to pay $10,000 for 50 hours of discovery last time I checked, and that was like 6 months ago last time I checked. And you just get me in there, and I think it took me like 3 days and a half a work day, right? And then stuff started working, you know?
Do you ever work in a team, or is it always?
I do now. I work in a team now. Being able to bounce ideas off of some of the people I work with is invaluable. Like Christopher Wright, he's a cybersecurity mentor based out of Little Rock. He put me into this Discord chat for Arkansas hackers, so being able to interact with them, and they're all great people. They work high-level positions in cybersecurity around the state for like banks, medical.
Private group.
Yeah. You have to be invited by one of the 3 moderators. Christopher Wright is one of them, and I'm just going to send all of you to him. Go bother him. Christopher Wright with a W, right? So everything that I do, like I said earlier, I am where I am because I stand on the shoulder of giants. I have a lot of people helping me, a lot of people backing me with what I'm doing, and it's never just me.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, you need that, man. That book that we were talking about before we started used this terms mastermind, building out like this network of people around you that have that specific knowledge that maybe you don't have, you know, and talking to them about it. Mm-hmm. So really, any business owner listening, add Chris here to your mastermind. You know, it's add him to your network. So do you think when you go in and you audit these companies and you pen test them, okay, let me just throw out an example. Say we mentioned a water company. Say I'm a water company CEO. I'm like, okay, I want to try this out. I have a couple hundred employees, 50 in the office.
Okay.
Are you going to be, I don't know, you know, dude, what I'm thinking, I got to read through documentation, I got to do all this. Or are you just going to deal with my IT guy and just talk to him? How does that work? I mean, as far as the really technical stuff goes.
As far as the real technical stuff, yeah, I'll be interacting. Well, if you're a company of that size, I would go ahead and assume that you do have an IT infrastructure to support a couple of hundred employees.
Yeah.
So I will be interacting more often than not with your IT side, because I'll be giving a lot of high-level information that the C-suite just genuinely, it's not in their daily responsibilities or duties to care about, right?
Yeah.
But the CIO, CISO, and even the CEO, there's going to be a lot of good information in there for them in the form of compliance, because that's business operations, business continuity plans, incident response plans. What do they have to do in terms of PR and marketing? Just anything that they would have to look out for. What are their regulations side on disclosure for your breach? What does a breach look like? Even down to statistical costs, because the FBI, CISA, Sophos, Verizon, there's a lot of companies that post statistical data for cybersecurity incidents and responses and all this stuff, and a lot of analytics over some of the money that gets exchanged. Mm-hmm. And one of the funniest ones, so I'm quoting right now the 2023 Sophos, SOPHOS, cybersecurity report. And in that report, they put the average payment for ransomware, right? Mm-hmm. Average payment for ransomware. Mm. And it's like,
I'm going to guess 20 grand. The higher or lower? I would have initially said something lower because I'm thinking consumer ransomware. But if it's corporate, we're probably talking about a lot bigger numbers.
So let's talk about ransomware for a second.
Okay.
Right. I've seen a business owner pay over $100,000 on the spot for the encryption key to some encryption ransomware. I think it was whatever ransomware that had the .crab extension. Over 6 figures for that instantly, right? AT&T just paid the hacker that with this most recent disclosure. Today is June 18th, 2024. The most recent disclosure. They just paid that hacker for $345,000 for a video of him deleting the information that he stole from AT&T.
Wow.
Dead serious.
And where's this hacker at? Like somewhere.
Who knows?
Wow, and they would pay that.
Worldwide.
So there was some
Cybersecurity is a
attack on
$10 trillion
AT&T.
industry. Hacking's it's more profitable than the drug trade.
Wow. Who'd have
I
thought,
can
man?
exchange Bitcoin for any denomination on the planet right now, any valuable denomination. USD, yen, won, anything, quid, whatever. I can exchange Bitcoin for whatever I want worldwide, and it will be accepted worldwide. So ransomware. It is illegal, according to the United States of America, federal and state, for an organization to pay ransomware. It is considered the same as paying a kidnapper. It is under the same statutes and regulations.
It's illegal to pay a kidnapper.
Yep. It is illegal. That's why you can get the police involved, like all this other stuff. There's a lot of law that goes behind it, but because the question came down to how do we treat a company's data? How do you treat their data? Well, they don't really know. How do I phrase this? You don't know how much you would pay for your data until you don't have it. And I'm telling you in 6 hours, I'm about to delete it. And you're going to pay me right now or you're not going to have your data. The first question that comes to any business owner's mind is, I'm about to have a blank infrastructure, no accounting, no access to any proprietary applications or even applications that I bought like QuickBooks, right? All of the QuickBooks data is encrypted, right? Zero. How do I make the next dollar without my data? And that is when you've been working in the same organization for 20 years and you had an automated process and now that automated process is out the window.
Yeah.
How much would you pay? Let's say you're making $20 million a year, in profit. How much would you pay?
Probably more than 20 million. I mean, if I had to, because you're talking about losing your entire momentum for the past 20 years, which you built up.
You're losing your ability to make money with that company instantly. All money-making operations, if you rely on the internet and your data, halts. It stops. Like right there. Right? And now you have to worry about all of the data they stole being put online. Right? Mm-hmm. So that's accounting. Man. So how much would you pay? The average, according to this Sophos thing that I was quoting, right, is less than $1 million. No, it's less than 100,000, right? And you see all these stories about businesses paying 10 million, 2 million. It's because they don't report it. Because if you report it, that's against the law, and your insurance company isn't going to pay you anything because you just broke the law in paying this ransomware.
So AT&T just broke the law.
Well, what did they pay the money for? They paid a man $345,000 for a video. That's what they did.
See, that's why they wanted the video.
Dude, there's a lot of legal workarounds that I've seen. Like, it's all a game. It's all a game.
It is. I can 100% agree with you on that. And if you don't know the game, you ain't gonna be able to play it. That's interesting, man. Law is one of those things I think it's worth for anybody to study. I'm getting 100%. Into it recently, and it's like, whoa.
100%. Getting into business law and like opening your own LLC and understanding what comes with that and looking at yourself as an entity instead of a person, it changes because, I mean, the United States of America is the corporate states of America, right? So
the United States is literally a corporation.
Exactly. So you have more rights being a corporation than you do being a citizen, genuinely. Like more representation, more things you can do. if a company you're working with were to wrong you in any capacity, there's just so many things. So yes, get out there and learn the law. And the law isn't like compliance. The law is gray. All you need to do is convince somebody and just have an open dialogue, right? But insurance with compliance, yes, no. There is no grayscale. There's no O. Which gets back to one of the cool ways that I can help with insurance is I can make you pretty close to DoD, like 2023 STIGs, especially if you have an active directory, like an active directory that you use for your organization. Being able to port over those DoD STIGs and making your organization even a percentage, like a DoD installation, will go a long way in arguing a piece of the pie for your insurance payout when you get hacked. Like, imagine a slide saying that you're 67% or 70% DoD. And here's the difference in security compliance, which you aren't under any obligation to adhere to because of your regulations, because of the industry you're in. But this is the steps we're taking moving forward for cybersecurity. We're 70% like a DoD installation, right? I haven't seen any argument or any court case or documentation related. And please, I would, if you can help me, I would love for anybody listening to this to send me some data on it because I have not. I've gotten in contact with the Rose Law Firm in Little Rock and a ton of individuals I know that know a little bit about a little bit.
So you can make businesses that don't have to adhere to these registrations 70% DoD compliant.
And we can show that in a difference between current DoD STIG, standard technical and implementation guides for DoD installations, which, by the way, are publicly posted by the CISA. We can just do a diff, and you can get a genuine percentage. Here's the difference. Here's even down to the group policies that aren't enacted, all the way down with granularity that any investigator would want to see, that actually any investigator would be impressed in seeing, because like you said, man, there's businesses that have existed before the internet that are making millions, so with the addition of the internet, it's just convenience for them. Like, we're already making money, so just throw whatever you need to throw on my infrastructure and just make it work, and that's the going business practice for a long time until cybersecurity started really picking up steam, started really mattering, especially with Bitcoin. You know what I mean? As soon as Bitcoin became big, man, I can't tell you how tempting it is, or it was, to not be a black hat. Like, genuinely, with how anonymous I already am and how I don't have a footprint on the internet with my skill set, dude, man. And
So you felt a pull that way at one point in your life? Like, I'm gonna
well,
black
I've
hat
never really
this.
felt the pull, you know what I mean? Because, like, I've already gone through a case of identity theft with my grandmother that I still, like, I told her as soon as that happened, I was like, I'm the reason why this is happening. So I went, like, I was cleaning energy buildings with her at 10 o'clock at night while I was in high school because I just felt guilty, like, we didn't have food in the fridge. We couldn't even afford those cheap packs of ramen, you know what I mean? And man. So yeah, like, just with my experience from that, I've never felt the pull, but I understand the temptation,
Yeah.
like,
Power that you.
yeah, because when you're sitting here trying to sell, and cybersecurity and hacking is a hard sell, you know what I mean? Because my job is to come in and tell you where you're messed up and where you can improve. And, what does that say about your current IT infrastructure, your current IT team? What are they not doing? You know what I mean? And it's not like I'm trying to shine a negative light on anybody. I'm genuinely just wanting to get you to a place to where you will feel secure and I will feel secure doing business with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, dude, I'm tired of reading of businesses I interact with having data breaches. Like, I'm tired of hearing AT&T getting hacked, Verizon's getting hacked, the government, the DHS is getting hacked, schools are getting hacked.
So you think
What?
if you had the ear of someone at AT&T, you could prevent this stuff full stop at that large of a scale?
I think if I had to hear at somebody at AT&T, I wouldn't say, I'm not as egotistical to admit that I'd be able to have nationwide impact, but I do believe I will be able to help with some of the supply chain risk management and a lot of the ways that AT&T is vulnerable, right? Because I mean, if I wanted to hack AT&T, I wouldn't try to hack AT&T. I would hack one of their subsidiary companies or one of their vendors, right? And as long as I have a portal to your information or access to your information, which you legally gave to one of your vendors or whoever that has access to it, that's the easiest way for me to get into AT&T from a hacking perspective, or that's how I would approach the problem, you know? And in approaching that problem that way, it really gives you a unique insight on how you can protect the environment, right? Which gets back to put MFA on everything and change your password to your emails, you know? And that's what it gets down to. I think I'd be able to help. I don't know if I'd be able to affect real change because the corporate monster is a corporate monster, right? Any recommendation that I come up with is going to be locked in corporate litigation or bounced around in agile meetings for 2, 3, 4 months, and then reviewed by a security department. And then it's a game. And I'm not trying to, there's being a politician and being an engineer. I feel with large companies like AT&T, I would be playing the role of a politician more than an engineer, you know, trying to get individuals behind me to adhere to security practices and implement these security practices, not only within the corporation, but to third-party vendors that interact with the corporation. And that's not something I'm particularly fond of. I love being an engineer and being able to help.
How can businesses take you up on this? How can businesses start working with you to ensure their compliancy and everything that goes along with that?
All right. Well, like I said, right now, I don't have socials, but socials, they're coming, you know, from great recommendations from Mr. Tall Swicegood over here. I think I'm going to have to start getting in the game now that my face is going to be on camera. So for right now, you can get a hold of me through my business email. The one that I use is Chris.grauel, Grauel, at PM, as in Papa Mike, .me, Mike Echo. And my phone number is 479-747-6697. Just get a hold of me, call me. If I don't answer the first time, it's because your call is being screened and I don't want any spam. But just get in touch, send me an email, shoot me a text, whatever, and I can help you out.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Well, thanks for joining us today, man.
Thanks
the
for
first
having me.
episode of Level Up Season 2. So there we go.
Let's go,
Season
dude.
2.
Let's go.
All right. Thanks for watching, everybody.